welcome back to Man Across New Horizons. I'm Dear Darling, and shall we see what's going on our lovely little island of Fawnhollow today. And, well, congratulations to Italy for winning Euros 2021, I suppose. It was actually a match that I did watch. It was probably the first football match I've watched in 10 years or something. probably more than that. I don't really remember last time I watched a football matches, but it was had potential to be a it is nonetheless in the end a monumental occasion for England. And even though England didn't win, I thought it was still, pretty amusing to watch. Or maybe amusing is the wrong word. Pretty fun to watch. I know it was a good showing. Either way, mistakes made, of course, but you can't expect perfect sort of execution every single time. But anyway, hello everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 3:37 PM on Monday, July 12th, 2021. Nothing to really speak of today, so we'll go about our usual business. And I know I've talked about football like 3 days in a row, but it was a pretty big event, and you got to take these conversational topics as you can get them. So if you've got something that's worthy being talked for 3 days in a row, then you just got to. So if you don't know what's going on, if you're out, presumably if you're not European, I suppose there's these European football championships, I suppose, going on, and the final was yesterday at 8 PM local time for us. Hold on, my dreamy dear. I had a dream. We had this definitely before sunrise. The dream about climbing a mountain. The finals were yesterday at 8 PM local time here in England, held in Wembley Arena. I don't actually know where it was held. That's what I assume. But it was England versus Italy, and it was a very monumentous occasion for England, especially because England. It was like England haven't been in the finals for like 50 years or something. Not since 1966, I assume, where England somehow won the World Cup. Biscuits photo! How lovely. We befriended you. Have a quick glance over the command missions. Water, take photo. Okay. So it had real potential to be a very monumental occasion, especially if England somehow pulled out a victory. And spoilers for a match, I suppose, if you haven't watched it, but presumably if you didn't watch it live, you're not going to watch it now. Started off strong for England, where England managed to score a goal within the first 4 minutes, where I was just like, whoa, maybe England's actually got a chance of that sort of thing. And I don't know, I didn't really pay attention to play. I will say I'm not that well versed in strategy and stuff in football, so I don't really know if they played well or poorly, but from what I've been seeing under some random news threads and that sort of thing, but the consensus is what the heck is this? Marine Day? The 14th of July? I don't know what that's for, but sure. The consensus is that England played far too defensively or something, when they really should have been pressing the attack more to try and get a second goal in or something. But eventually Italy scored a second goal. Not a second goal, an equalising goal. I don't remember what minute it was in, maybe minute 60 something, which brought it to an even keel, and we went through the extra half an hour of extra time, and the game went to penalties, and unfortunately in the end England lost the penalties. And apparently there's been some strange decisions in the penalties, whether they substituted 2 people on, they both missed their penalties. Not that I can blame them, because penalties, if you don't know, from a mathematical perspective, penalties are kind of luck of a draw anyway, so it's not, certainly there is a technical aspect where you actually have to, I suppose, shoot your shot on the goal, and the goalkeeper has to actually be reasonable at stopping them, but a lot of it is a sort of a game theory sort of perspective from it. Oh, CJ, hello, you have visitor for today. So there is a game theory perspective on it, where basically, you can shoot in 6 different quadrants of a goal, which one is the best one to aim for. Apparently, mathematically, the best one's actually just to be just above the goalkeeper, just straight upwards, because most of the time, if you don't know, when you're defending a penalty, you shoot out from that sort of thing. When you're that close, I don't know why I immediately ran. When you're that close, it's very hard to dodge on reaction, so the goalkeeper just basically has to make a prediction and dive in a direction and hopefully get the right way. But most of the time, the goalkeepers dive even if you just shoot it straight across. So if you just shoot straight forward, no other factors being considered, you're reasonably likely to get it in compared to usual. But whatever. They brought in 2 people. They unfortunately missed the goals, and Italy ended up winning by 1 goal. There was a very intense moment where the English goalkeeper had to save his 1 goal. It was 1 penalty for England to even have a chance, so then he managed to do it, and everyone was like, "Wow!" But yeah, also I'm going to throw this out now. Normally I pull my punches when it comes to talking ill of others, but if you're the type of person to go on, even in person or online, to harass the players who, you know, perhaps didn't play exactly perfectly or whatever, you are not a very nice person. You're a horrible person, especially if you seem to be resorting to racial slurs, which some people I've been seen using on Twitter, which is actually absurd, mind you. Please, if you're someone, well, I'm just going to say, if you're someone watching these videos, I really hope you're not that sort of person. I like to think a community will be fostered here in these very casual Animal Crossing videos is far nicer than that sort of thing. So yeah, and I think they played triumphantly, and, you know, had the chips landed a different way that day, then perhaps England would have come out with a win. It's small things like that, penalty shootouts, you know, they're hard, they're stressful situations, and, you know, it's a lot of a burden to bear, especially because I think one of the kids was like 18 or something. Or one was like 18 and 19. That's really young to basically have the entire pressure of 55 years of a nation's, I don't know, resentment building up, and being basically the deciding factor in it or not. So the fact that he stepped up in the first place to even do it is accepting a pressure far beyond what most people would even be able to perform under. So you know, perhaps I can say this much more casually because I'm someone who's wasn't super invested in football in the first place, but I can definitely understand the sort of significance and importance that people were placing on it. But yes, it's very disappointing, certainly, but doesn't really give much of a reason to be mean to others, I suppose, about that sort of thing. So congratulations to Italy is what I say. I think it was a well thought sort of match. It was entertaining to watch, even for someone who doesn't really like football that much. I would say there's a lot more diving in football than I expected. I did like the referee about 90% of the time was just like, get up, instead of stopping play or whatever. But, you know, I can't really fault the football players for diving, I suppose, because it's kind of like not discouraged. It's kind of like tactically beneficial to dive, because, I mean, it's the sort of thing where if you don't discourage it, then people will do it to try and like get an advantage out of it, and the advantage of this case being like getting free kick or possession of a ball. So of course people are going to embellish. There wasn't like that many crazy embellishments, I think, compared to, well, I'm not sure if compared to usual. You know, I've heard of memes about Neymar, I think that's his name, and his ridiculous antics when he's diving and that sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, it seemed like, I guess, kind of what I expected from football. You might argue, hey, would you like to see football without diving? Yeah, absolutely, but I know that's not really on my shoulders to change exactly how FIFA decide the referees should referee, I suppose. That's kind of up to them. But yeah, so it was potentially quite monumentous occasion, and in some ways, in some very selfish ways, I'm kind of thankful England didn't win. Otherwise it would have been like uproarious applause and partying throughout the entire night. Like, even last night I heard fireworks going off at like midnight or 1 AM for whatever reason. I guess maybe an Italian family celebrating victory. Fair enough. I can't imagine how difficult it would be to sleep at night if England won. But of course that's a very selfish reason. I don't actually mean that. It's off of a bit. It's all satirical. But yeah, I mean, even if you get that far and you lose, I think it's still something to be proud of. It's disappointing nonetheless. For such a big potential moment, you could feel like the opportunity's been missed, but you should realise the opportunity's already been like cinched, you know? You've already grabbed the opportunity to actually make it to the finals in the first place. There's nothing being missed there. It was rare enough to even get there in the first place. Sure, it would be the cherry on top to win the entire thing, but you still got that ice cream sundae in front of you. But still nothing to sneeze at or complain about, I think. So yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if I'm a... Has that always been that little, like, rock ball? On that... Am I losing my mind? I swear that's not always been there. Maybe I am losing my mind. Yeah, my point being, it could have been a super monumental occasion, but the fact is, already it was kind of a monumental occasion in the first place. And they should be proud of how well they've done. I believe the World Cup is next year anyway, so, you know, you got another opportunity for redemption with a few more other countries in the mix that you got to go up against. But to be fair, I think most of the countries who are particularly good at football in the first place are European. Of course, shout out to like Brazil, Argentina. There's probably some other countries I'm forgetting, but apologies, I'm not that well versed in football. But I thought it was just interesting, you know. Thoughts on a match after not watching a football match for many years. Really long, I suppose. I mean, if you think about it, you got the full 90 minutes for the actual game. If those 90 minutes aren't decided, you get a full extra half an hour, you know, and then you got penalties, which probably takes like another half an hour, maybe. That's like 3.5 hours? Yeah, no, what? 2.5 hours of sporting thing, plus all the adverts and stuff, which probably add up to like another half hour or something. That's like 3 hours. That's 3 hours of continuous sporting, not continuous, but football stuff. Like, I guess it kind of made me realise, damn, you got to be like insanely athletic to play football if you're playing like for half an hour, 1.5 hours of just like continuous sprinting around. Okay, maybe not continuous sprinting, but like sprinting in bursts all over the place. I'm trying to look upwards, but the game won't let me. I'd like to go to St. Haven one day, but my parents won't let me, as a reference to Dragon Nest, that old MMORPG which I don't think people are playing anymore. A velvet stool. Hold on, what recipe is this? Bamboo candle holder, which we definitely already know. Yeah, so sad to say, it's not coming home. Or, in fact, it didn't come home. In fact, it's coming Rome, it's coming Rome. Football's coming Rome. Sorry, bad joke. Yeah, I mean, I guess my whole like encompassing point is, you know, they should be proud for how well they did. I think they performed admirably from a lame person's perspective about my knowledge of football, I suppose. But maybe if you're someone who is well into football, you could point out all their flaws and exactly what they did wrong and that sort of thing. But you know, doesn't really change what happened, I suppose, is what I say to that. You can be frustrated at it. Don't let me like try and frame it like you're completely irrational for being annoyed at the situation if they played subparly. But you know, just as long as you be reasonable about your celebrations, that sort of thing, in the first place. And imagine people, perhaps England fans would have been a little bit too disruptive if England did end up winning in the first place. Reputation as England football fans does sort of precede them. But let's hang up Biscuit's photo over here. There you go, we're adding it to the mix. Got a nice collection of everyone's faces. Still a shame that I didn't get them for all of the villagers. That was my bad, but you know, it happens. And sooner or later we'll not have the opportunity to anymore. You know, an interesting idea is, what happens if we make the next one get Phoebe, and the last one we'll just have as a rotating villager spot? We'll just grab the first villager that we don't have every single time. Until we get Fauna, I suppose. That's an interesting idea. Haven't considered that before. And I shouldn't think about that too much, because it's still very unlikely that we'd even get like Fauna or Phoebe in the first place. Yeah, I mean, obviously I wanted England to win, just for nationalistic pride and that sort of thing. But I guess I was kind of okay if they didn't win in the end, because I thought it was pretty cool in the first place. Frustrating, no, definitely. It's always frustrating when you try very hard at something, and you know, in competition-wise, and it doesn't pan out, and you know, you're like this close. You were this close to getting it done, and then sadly, victory was snapped away from your jaws. What on earth is going on? Oh, so there's just messages I just didn't see yesterday in my friends Discord with friends and that sort of thing, so I thought they were posted now, and I was like, why are people posting it? It's just a load of picture jacket potatoes, to be honest. Don't know what's going on. But yeah, I watched it and it's kind of interesting. I will say, our goalkeeper, England's goalkeeper, did pretty well, I thought. We don't even have a bug one anymore. Why am I still doing it? I thought he did pretty well. He got a lot of good saves in there. You know, goalkeepers and defensemen always unsung heroes when it comes to sports and that sort of thing. A lot of the pride and the glory definitely goes to those who play up front, those who actually score the winning goals in the end. And you know, you forget you need just a solid defense, and you need offense if you want to win a game. It's just as important to keep out any scores than it is to actually score them himself. You know, they both go hand in hand. You can't have, well, you can have one without the other, but you need both to win to a certain extent. unless you have an overwhelming dominance in one of the categories, I guess. That seems like football strategic talk, which I am not really even know about, so perhaps don't hold my words up too highly in that regard. Another thing to think about is how we can do these missions. Yeah, no. So I guess that whole like football arc is over now. And if you're an England fan or whatever, you've got like the only thing you've got now to look forward to is hopefully England performing admirably in the, well, we only need a 3, in the World Cup, which is in, I don't even know where it is. Next year? Hold on, let's see. World Cup 2022. Qatar? Oh. Fair enough, I guess. That seems like a random company. I didn't even know if Qatar were in, but they probably played the World Cup, obviously. I just never paid attention to it. But there we go, it's off to Qatar if you're one of the people who want to, I guess, see it in person. Obviously, I'm not going to, but I know. It's very hot in Qatar, is what I've been told. I will say my knowledge of Qatar definitely only extends as far as to what Ali's told me, so I have no idea. Anyway, that's something to look forward to. Oh, we should see what the mascot is. They always have a World Cup mascot, you know? World Cup mascot. It's always fun seeing like these sport thing mascots. FIFA World Cup official mascots. 1966 World Cup Willie? Who the heck's that? Qatar. To be announced in 2021. Not announced. Yeah, I remember last year. Zabibaka. Fileko. I don't know who the heck Fileko is. Oh, I remember Fileko. Zakumi. I remember Zakumi. Vesperix. Atokaznik. So I'm just looking at the mascots now. Somehow I've opened up Reddit. Atokazniks. Oh my gosh. It's not really what I expected. World Cup mascots. What am I looking at? What is I don't know. I'm just gonna close this. Yeah, it's a strange thing to Google. Perhaps don't Google that, or do. I suppose depends on how your curiosity sates you. But you didn't hear it from me. Capture another memory. Yeah, I wish I had more like grandiose thoughts or something to talk about after watching a not World Cup final, a Euros final, but I'd have like some more insights from a person who's not really in the know about football to really say. But you know, it's not, even if I'm not in the know about football, I still like know the rules and stuff, so it's not like I was watching blindly being like, I have no idea what's going on. I still knew what was going on. I just still just like I guess there's a lot more trying to look for opportunities than I expected, when I thought football would be very much sort of like basketball, when you're just like rushing down to each side of the net over and over again trying to get shots on goal. It's a lot more slower paced than I expected. Or maybe it's just my mind has been sullied by watching people in secondary school play football, and of course kids and teens always play very aggressively. It's not even the first but no, you don't know, think about it, because we used to have house competitions. If you don't know, if you don't know what that is, just like think about like Harry Potter house competitions. I think it's basically exactly the same thing between houses in our secondary school. And I remember watching the house football, and I think our house was in the final against another one of the houses, obviously. And I remember watching it because it came down to a penalty shootout. I obviously was not participating because I'm not good at football. You know, some of my friends were definitely participating, and it was fun to watch a penalty shootout. And I'm sure the pressure they felt when they were doing it is, I'm not going to say it's on the same level necessarily, but it's akin to the pressure those both those English and Italian players felt when they themselves were participating in the penalty shootouts. Just, you know, I suppose on a low scale, because I remember one of the people in our class, he went for a penalty shootout and he kicked it and he just went straight over the net, which, you know, you probably wouldn't expect that necessarily from a professional football player to have a shot on the goal. But you know, when the pressure's on and the psych out it's going different, and you take a small risk. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Like for that poor unfortunate English footballer who had the shot on goal, he guessed the right direction, such that the goalkeeper would miss it, but unfortunately just hit the post instead of actually getting it past the goalkeeper into the goal, which, you know, I'm sure as someone sitting on the couch, it's very easy for you to sit there and just be like, hey, even I could have got that shot in, and, you know, maybe you could have, but maybe you couldn't have, under the sort of pressure he's under rigorous training and in that sort of circumstance. Maybe you couldn't. It's a lot easier to say you can do things from a spectating perspective compared to actually doing it. And I often talk about that all the time when I feel like when I'm playing games, it's a lot harder to actually play the game when you're the one recording it. It's a lot easier when you're watching someone else to backseat them and be like, hey, you did this wrong, you done something like that. It's so easy, even like I'm looking at it, even I can do it. Or like when you're working out a puzzle, especially looking at it and being and thinking, yeah, I could do that. Luckily my audience, very nice, they're very encouraging, and I like to think it's hopefully maybe I curate that sort of behaviour in some forms, but mostly it's probably you're just kind of nice people which I'm very thankful for. Yeah, my audience will be like, you know, it's a tough thing, you get it next time, or, you know, congratulations when you do. So I'm very fortunate in those sort of avenues. You want a secret handshake? What would be a special greeting? I'm all for it. Why don't we just go, what? Oh, nice. W, sure. Yeah, I think it's perfect. I was going to say what's up, but, W. That's a secret greeting no one is ever going to think of. Just W. Gotta get that W. Gotta get that W. Sorry. Yeah, what I'm saying is, like, the back seating is easier when you're sitting down comfortably than when you're in the hot seat trying to actually get it done, I suppose, in the first place. So yeah, do I think I could have made that shot on the penalty goal? Like, maybe, if I was just, like, randomly in someone's backyard. I'm playing casually with my friends. I don't see why I couldn't. Could I have done that in front of everyone? I think I might have psyched myself out, I think. But, you know, to be fair, if I was taking a penalty shootout, I'd be like, you know, I'm pretty bad at kicking football. I'm not going to go for anything risky and go for the side. I'm going to come at it from a strictly mathematical perspective, where I expect the goalkeeper to dive to a direction, and I'll just kick it straight forward. As hard as I can. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. It might be erratic, it might not be. You know? Even if you have a 90% like chance to get that goal in a penalty shootout, 10% chances happen all the time, you know? And it's just an unfortunate situation which happened. Oh, you know, we should go get the fish for CJ. Unfortunate situation which happened to those young English players or whatever. But hopefully they can take it in stride, you know, and be like, I didn't get it that time, but next time I'm going to make sure I will. And even if you don't get it next time, then that's just how it be, you know? Penalties are a stressful situation. So, I don't feel particularly bitter that they missed or anything. But, you know, it's kind of hard for me, I suppose, to feel bitter about that sort of situation, because I'm just sort of like, well, you know, it's difficult. There's not really much more to it, it's just difficult. Angelfish, okay, sure. Thank you, past me, for saving up all these fish, apparently. Fish and bugs. But penalties, if anything, they kind of seem fun. I wish I remembered it properly, because the football penalty shootout thing is things people, and like, whenever I used to go to like maths talks and that sort of thing, like on these maths school trips, you know, turns out when you are kind of good at maths, you get chosen to go on these maths school trips all the time. One thing I really always do is like, oh, they're trying to appeal to like these teenage audience. What do they like? I know, sports. Probably all teenage boys like football, so obviously they're going to appeal to them by being like, hey, why don't we talk about football? Or maths behind football, penalty shootouts, you know, it's a bit of a game theory. You can go either like left, right, or straight forward, or you can go into the corners, but the corners are risky because of something that's quite difficult to actually accurately aim into them under high pressure, so the best circumstance is just kick straight forward, because it turns out the psychological effect is people always expect you to kick it to one of the sides, because that seems like the best thing to do, because by default the goalkeeper's not on the sides, and getting them to actually move feels like a thing. So it feels like a 50-50 shot of either kicking it to the side or not kicking it to the side, for it to work out to you, when actually you ended up being better kicking it straight forward. But the reason that people don't kick it straight forward is the same thing that like basketball players do free throws, but not from the underarm throw, but with the overarm throws, because if you kick it forward, And the goalkeeper doesn't have to move and it goes straight into the round to save it, like for a 3% chance that they save it, you look like a fool basically, and it's bad for like your image or that sort of thing. So players very, very rarely kick it straight forward. And it's the same thing with basketball. Even though it's technically, mathematically better for a basketball player to do like an underarm lob to get to sink the basketball shot, it's actually like if they miss, it looks really stupid or something, or like I guess them doing it in the first place looks really dumb or something. So people like to do like the flick into the cookie jar, as it's called, for better marketability purposes or something along those lines. I don't know. I've read it somewhere once. I don't know how true it is. Maybe it's false, but it's what I recall. So it's what I'm now toting as fact, factual evidence. And you can't really convince me otherwise. That's not true. You totally could. You could just be like, "That's not true," and I'd be like, "Oh, okay, my bad." But yeah. I don't know if we got enough time to do a hot item. We should have done it actually when we went to go get a fish for CJ, but I forgot to check what it was. So we're just gonna have to deal with it. Are you serious? Catch a diving beetle. Well, I guess we'll plant another tree. To be fair, there should be a tree here. I just never replanted it. I actually got rid of it because when I did the 1 year in Fawnhollow thing, I had to remove everything from this part to actually record the ending of it, if I recall. I should go watch that video again. I wonder if it's as good as I remember. Maybe it's terrible. Who knows? But yeah, all in all, it was a very eventful day yesterday. I hope if you were someone who's celebrating it and celebrating it still now, from England or Italy especially, or any ties you've got to those two countries, I hope you're doing it responsibly. I hope you're not being a hooligan about it. I hope you're not destroying public property. I hope you're drinking responsibly, celebrating responsibly, respecting and cleaning up after yourself, because that is very important, I think, for, you know, just being the standard of society, I suppose. It's not really any other way to phrase it. I hope you're not harassing any other football players. I hope you're congratulating them, if anything. Be sportsmanlike, and don't be extenuating. Of course, I totally. It's always a weird thing when I suppose when creators do this sort of thing, be like, hey, you know, don't be racist, you know. I'd like to think none of my audience would be racist, and I'd imagine if they were racist and they were like listening to this video, it's not like they'd be like, oh, you know, I'm going to stop being racist now. I suppose that sort of thing changes if you have a much younger impressionable audience, which maybe I do, but the analytics tell me I don't. So the analytics tell me, in fact, my audience is older than me on average, so that's a bit strange. I guess it's not, you know. Maybe it's just more, I'm more mood. My much more subdued personality is what people like to see instead of the hyped up ones for younger audiences, eh? I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. This wasn't really meant to be a knock at my audience, but I'm afraid it kind of turned out that way unintentionally. Yeah, I mean, if you're watching this, you're probably nice. What kind of horrible person would watch Animal Crossing videos on YouTube, you know? I have only the utmost faith in you. But yeah, there we go. So it's not coming home. Maybe next year? I don't know. Now I just feel bad. I lied to that person who randomly asked me yesterday, no, on Friday or whatever, if it was coming home, and I said, yeah, of course it is. Well, yeah, sure. I can't remember what I said. Turns out we didn't. But yeah, if you haven't been watching, I suppose it's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares are greatly appreciated. Join the Dear Darling Discord or follow me on Twitter down below. Hope we can see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye bye for now.